Everything you got, so.
And she's the senior.
Welcome, everyone, to the Finance Committee meeting of September 8th. We have a
All these federal-
short but detailed agenda tonight. We've got the Article 5 for capital budget, Article 6 for capital budget, Article 7 for water and sewer, and follow-up for Article 8 on the town modifications to the charter. Jim, before we get in, is there anything you have?
No, just for Article 8, I believe towards the end of the day, I sent you guys out a memo just following up on those three items the committee asked about, and I'm sure we can talk through that, but it's there, and if you don't have a copy, we have hard copies for you too, so.
For the committee, we're going to go through the capital budget. This is how Chairman Forsberg has his notes done, so we're going to follow this in terms of agenda items as we go through. This was in the packets, a little blue.
Oh, Doug, I do have one note. I think town council's on. Mark Rich, I had asked him to be here to address any questions that may come up for Article 8, and of course, something big with Article 7, Mark's here, so he's on Zoom.
Thank you. All right, does everybody have this handy dandy sheet pulled out?
We'll get it out.
All right, Chairman Forsberg.
Thank you for having me this evening. First of all, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the town administration and all the department heads for putting together an excellent book this year. It was one of the best ones yet, and it was pretty easy to follow. We'll start with the first item on Article 5 would be the Board of Assessors. There was a 5-year state mandate for property reassessment. This program will reevaluate 9,916 properties in the town, and this must be done within 7 months, and most of the money would be for hiring a third party. The request is for $80,000, recommendation is $80,000, and that's out of free cash.
Question?
Why is it on the capital budget?
Are you directing it to me, Ron?
If you want to
So,
answer.
the Board of Assessors submitted a capital request, and that's why we're funding it through capital budget.
Okay.
Well, it
Just
also is
figured
not
it.
it's not a recurring
Yeah.
expense every year.
Yeah, it's recurring, yeah, okay.
All set?
All set.
Next would be community and economic development. This would be for the Memorial Pond and the Spring Brook improvements. This would be to implement recommendations from a previous study, and design includes landscaping, hardscape, boardwalk, and seating. Request was for $50,000, recommended $50,000, and that's out of free cash.
Questions?
Next would be the Recreation Department. The first item with that is the Blackburn Hall improvements. This is for design and construction, proposed improvements from the this is proposed improvements for Lower Blackburn Hall. Reconfigure the ramp and install a lift, modernize and update the area to support Recreation Department programs. The request was for $250,000, but the recommendation is for $125,000, and that's out of free cash.
Mark?
Through you. I understand the design component, but how much is actually going to be physically able to be renovated with the 125?
Well, that would be up to the building maintenance, I think. To tell you the truth, I had a hard time putting my head around the $250,000 for that one area downtown. But if you look, I don't know if you got the itemized list with all the electrical and plumbing and heating and stuff like that, it does add up pretty quick.
Okay.
So I would figure they would go as far as they can for the $125,000. I think one of the biggest thing is for the ramp, the way the ramp goes down the middle of the room right now, it divides it up and kind of makes it useless. So the ramp is going to be changed and go like parallel with the
To one
that
wall?
hallway, the
Yeah.
elevated hallway, and then, or maybe put a lift in.
Okay.
I kind of rather see the ramp, because the lift is mechanical and it's going to be an expense to buy and to maintain
Yeah.
yearly and stuff like that, so. But that could be up to them, how far the money goes, so.
Okay.
Kathleen? You're
I'm
good?
good, yep.
Anyone else
That-
on Recreation and Community Development?
Second item, excuse me.
Go ahead.
The second item is for Java's Farm improvements. This would be site improvements to enhance the quality of the recreation programs. It would be to realign the ball fields and realign and upgrade the ball fields, also construct a parking area and then also to repair or eliminate some of the cabins that are on site. That request was for $50,000. It's recommended $25,000, and that would be out of the water retained earnings.
Questions? All right.
Okay, next, Council on Aging. This would be to purchase a Ford T350 high roof transit van. This is a medium-sized van that would hold 7 to 9 passengers. This van will replace a 2011 10-passenger cutaway van that has a lift in it. The biggest reason for this is it adds transportation flexibility. They have a small van, and then the bigger vans, this is like a medium-sized van, and it would work into their programs much easier. That request would be for $12,000.
No.
Wrong one.
Excuse me, I'm in the wrong one, excuse me. The request would be we wish it was for $12,000, but
Yeah.
it was for
Probably more than one.
$102,250, and the recommendation is for $102,000, and that would be out of free cash.
Questions?
Okay, next would be the Cultural Council. This would be to support music and dance programs, science and nature events, art, theater, and literary programs. The request was for $12,000. Recommendation for $12,000 out of free cash. And this has become a recurring expense, and I think there's an effort to look into having this funded each year out of the budget. So we'll see how that goes.
That was my question, was going to be, because it appears in the 5-year plan
Right.
that it's, the expense is there, and it doesn't meet the criteria for capital.
Right.
So it should be, I believe, in the regular budget and deal with it that as opposed to capital, where it's going to be an annual expense.
So this is really the second year, I think, it's come
Correct.
to us, so I think we're working on that. We could ask administration about that, but
We have to receive a budget request for it to be included in my budget recommendations. So,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
okay, next. Conservation Department, this would be for the ponds management. Memorial, Clarkson Turner Ponds, this is a chemical treatment application to eliminate the nuisance vegetation, and this would be for a 3-year program. The request was for $41,694. The recommendation is for $42,000, and that would be out of free cash.
Questions?
Next. Okay, next, public safety, this would be the police department. The first item is the live scan. This is to replace a 15-year-old fingerprint equipment that is now out of service. They are currently using a temporary unit. We're required to do this, and the request is for $18,000. Recommendation is $18,000 out of free cash. Okay, next item would be the 911 recording system. In 2024, the state advised the local police departments that they would no longer administer the required retention software to keep the records of the 911 calls. And so now that the towns are on their own, we have to purchase this new upgraded equipment and the system. The request is for $23,200, and it is recommended $23,200 out of free cash. Next would be for a non-marked cruiser. This will replace a 2016 Ford Explorer, which has 70,000 miles on it. It is assigned to the Detective Division. The request is for $58,000, and that is what is recommended, and that's out of free cash. Good. Okay, next would be active threat response kits. This will replace response kits that have reached their expiration date, and will also allow each police vehicle to have a kit, in the vehicle. This is to purchase 19 of these kits. Request is for $18,500, and that is what the recommendation is out of free cash. Next is office copiers. there's a need to replace the 3 7-year-old copiers, printers that are in service right now. Their request is for $20,000. That is what is recommended out of free cash. Next, we have the fire department. This is for ambulance equipment. New ambulance was ordered in 2024, and I think it's supposed to be delivered, I forget, I don't read that. The ambulance one?
Next fall.
Yeah, next fall, I think. So we need to add purchase additional equipment for this ambulance, and then equipment, it will be for the ALS monitor, defibrillator, the MTS power load system with stretcher, a stair chair, and 2 mobile radios and a laptop computer. That request is for $160,000. That's what's recommended out of free cash.
Josette?
I have a question, Ed. Is it cheaper to do it piecemeal like this as opposed to just ordering the ambulance fully loaded?
I'm not sure that, I think I'd have
Can
to
address
refer
that.
to the fire department.
We did this,
Oh,
if you don't
Jim?
mind it, we did the same thing with the fire engine because we knew the lead time for both of those pieces of equipment were way longer than they have ever been in the past. So we figured we'd get the 2 large pieces of equipment ordered and then come back. They're gonna likely be coming back next year for about 100 or so, give or take, for like the hoses and Jaws of Life, everything else that goes on it. But it just made no sense to appropriate that money last year and just store the equipment. It starts aging, right, guys? Yeah. Okay.
The warranties kick in and stuff like that.
Warranties too. So.
Hypothetically, is it, when you're doing it piecemeal like this, you don't have to worry about the instruments and everything that you're going to be using getting too old because it takes so long? Like, was it 2 years, almost 3 years for your fire trucks to come through?
Correct, so the ambulance is about a 2-year wait from the order time frame. So we're concerned about what the cost of that equipment will go up to.
Okay.
We're locking a price on those. Same thing with the engines, about 3 years, so the equipment. So when we purchased the previous engines, we allocated money immediately, and then the equipment sat in our storeroom until the truck showed up, till the equipment showed up. The problem with that, some of the stuff was under warranty, and as soon as the warranty is active, as soon as we make the purchase. So we, when we purchased the ambulance, through this process, we advised that we would be coming back from more money for the additional equipment. We did not give grab prices to the vendor of the ambulance. We went, basically cut out the middleman and went straight to the vendor.
So your warranty is effective at the time of purchase, and it's not just sitting there running out in storage? Thank you.
That's what I was going to ask through you, is that the delivery of the equipment should be timed approximately with the delivery of the ambulance?
That's correct, that's why we're before you now, because technically the contract reads a December delivery date. We're advised that it may be done a little earlier, probably before fall town meeting. So which we're optimistic and hopeful, so that's why we're looking for funding now. So we'll make the purchase as we get the purchases, as we get closer to the timeline. We get a more definitive date on delivery.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, next would be computer upgrades. This would be for the UPS replacement. That's the uninterruptible power supply system, which is critical for powering the computers, networks, and communications in the current, when the power is out. Also, the current equipment has reached its end of life. It's also to replace some switch networks, the radio dispatch system upgrade, office computer system upgrades, and that request is for $100,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Communication equipment, replace 15 portable radios that have reached end of life and are no longer supported by the manufacturer. That request is for $98,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Okay, the fourth one, under the fire department would be the Station 2 design and construction. This is the next phase of a new second station. We all know that the current station in East Walpole isn't up to current standards, and it's kind of tough to fit the trucks in and stuff. But anyways, this request is for $300,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash.
Mark? Through you, Jim, have they actually identified a site that's town-owned at this point for putting the station?
No, they have not.
Okay, next on the fire department is personal protective equipment. This is to purchase NFPA compliant personnel protective equipment for the 5 new hires. The request is for $40,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash.
Bless you.
DPW.
Okay, DPW. The next one is, well, the first one under DPW is the MS4 permitting compliance. This is year 8 of I don't know how many years. This here is more of a, it says a permit, but it's really, I think, a report that we have to supply to the state, the DEP and the EPA. And they want to know what stormwater runoffs are, whatever's going to our ponds and our brooks and our lakes, and we have to report this to every year to them. So I don't know what's going to happen next year. They're looking for $550,000, I think, next year, and $495,000, so that must be for construction of, reconstruction of detention basins and catch basins. I'm not sure of that, but this is just the next phase, and it's, our member says, another unfunded mandate, so.
Questions?
Next,
Hold on, just to follow up on that, Ed. So Rick or Renee, Water and Source, speak to why, $500,000 and
$500,000 next year?
yeah, why?
Yeah, so this is a program that's gonna continue from now until forever. It's a federal permit issued by the DEP in conjunction with DEP. MS4 stormwater. The permit is already in place. Now what we're trying to do is maintain compliance with that permit that was issued to the town. As part of that compliance, certain things like a phosphorus control plan needs to be done in the small section of the Charles River Basin, and also in another small section, I think, in the eastern section of town. As they get deeper and deeper into this thing, it's gonna require a certain amount of construction infrastructure improvements to the system. And that's why you'll see in the upcoming years, it progressively gets more and more expensive. And it is an unfunded mandate. There are some cities and towns that do fund it through, you've heard the rain tax. Well, that's basically what it is. So this is gonna be a recurring thing.
Thanks, Rick.
Anyone else?
Good. Okay, next, under engineering would be alternative study for the Washington Street Bridge at the Neponset River in East Walpole. This study is to identify options on the repairs or replacement of the bridge that's there now, and this would be done in conjunction with any work that may have to be done on the Bird Dam. This request right now is for $11,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Okay. Next is repairs to the dam at the School Street Bridge at Memorial Pond right here. This is for masonry repairs and repointing all of the mortar joints, rehabilitation of the dam and the spillway to prevent a future dam failure. The request is for $150,000. That's what's recommended out of free cash. Next would be for crosswalk beacons. This would be for three crosswalk sites. One of them would be East Street at Diamond Street. The next one would be at South Street at the Council on Aging. And the third one would be at North Street, then near the Fisher Street intersection, just, I guess it would be east of the Adams Farm entrance. It's the new, you'll see a new little bridge up there now, and there was some land deeded to the town that we could have access to the water down there, but this is just for the crosswalk to get from like the fields at Adams Farm over to this walkway. This request is for $70,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Next will be drainage system upgrade and design. For preliminary design for the drainage improvements to the areas of Brown Drive, Oak Street, Autumn Lane, and Spring Valley Drive. This area has been a problem, a flooding problem for many years, and this would just try to alleviate most of the issues. Request is for $80,000. Recommendation is for $80,000, but $20,000 would be out of water return retained earnings, and $60,000 would be out of sewer retained earnings.
Mark? Okay, through you, probably to Jim. This one and the culverts that are there, and then under sewer and water departments, I'm just looking at the logic behind charging water retained earnings for something that should be, I would think, more sewer related. And then farther along, we've got water meter system upgrades, which we're charging the sewer retained earnings for, which I would think would be more water related. Is there a reason for splitting these up?
Yes, there is, because the infrastructure is needed, and there's limited resources available. The thought behind using the retained earnings for these two specific projects is it's directly related to we have our own sole source aquifer here in Walpole, as you know. These two specific ones are going right into the recharge area. If it was something in East Walpole, I think it would be much harder to justify. But given the locations of these two particular ones, after speaking to the water and sewer superintendent, DPW director, and looking back at the history, what we funded with some other projects through retained earnings, justifiable.
So the recharge zone is what's justifying the use of water at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And as far as the water meters, sewer and water commissioners have made that clear. That's a priority to them. They want it done. They want to move forward with it. We had to get a little creative there. Obviously, you can't have your sewer without your water. That's the thought process behind splitting it.
Okay, thanks.
And the billing is related to the water meter.
The water usage, gotcha, yeah.
Right.
That one's a little stretch, but yeah, okay, thank you.
All set? Okay, next would be for culvert design at Summer Street. This is in the valley, just before you get to Comstock Way. The need to replace more than 100-year-old rubble stone and pipe culvert. The request is for $120,000. The recommendation is for $120,000. And that money, $55,000 would come out of water return earnings, and $65,000 would come out of sewer return earnings. Next would be Highway Division. This would be to resurface roads, sidewalks, and parking lots. This would be continue the townwide, to work on the continuance of the townwide pavement management program. This is various locations. The request was for $1,750,000. The recommendation is for a total of $1,598,883. That is funded by $1,198,883 out of Chapter 90 and $400,000 out of free cash. Okay. Next would be and the Highway Department would be the hot fiber crack seal. This is preventative maintenance to extend the road lifespan. This is town-wide and where needed. And this is like the black tar that you see, the stripes that are all over the place in town. It fills up the cracks to prevent any water from getting into it. This request is for $85,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Okay, next is for an infrared asphalt patching machine. This machine will heat up roadway asphalt to almost a liquid for a seamless patch. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's just a machine, like a hot flame oven, and it will just go over the hot top, and it gets it back to a liquid, and then it will like seal it all together. It's, I've seen them working with, like the gas company and stuff, and it's a nice piece of equipment. So that request is for $30,000, and it's recommended, and that's what's recommended out of free cash.
Mark?
Will that work on all road surfaces, including the chip seal, or would that be a little bit more
I
difficult?
imagined it could, but it wouldn't really be for the chip seal.
Yeah,
It's,
it wouldn't really be practical for chip seal.
Okay, thank you.
Next would be for an asphalt hot box. This is a 20-ton trailer-type hot box for keeping asphalt hot during the cold weather for patching. You probably see it towed behind a truck, but it's where they keep the hot top hot, so they can put it down nice. Request is for $35,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash.
I think this is 2-ton. I thought you said 20.
20, is it?
It is 20.
Oh, is it 2-ton? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
the handout said 20.
yeah, the handout said 20.
Okay.
So it's 2?
2-ton.
2-ton.
Just left the decimal out.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, next would be the Parks Division, the synthetic field turf replacement. This is to add money to the turf replacement fund. The current fund has a balance of $1,127,000 and $1,127,201. The typical lifespan of one of these fields is 12 to 14 years. We have 3 fields in town with the turf, 1 at the high school and 3 at the LaRusso Complex. And we're looking to add $250,000 to this fund this year, and that would be out of free cash. Okay. Next is hazardous tree removal, inventory and risk assessment. This would be to update the 2011 assessment of the trees in town along the roadways. And also for removal of high-risk trees. Request is for $60,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash. Okay, next, vehicle maintenance. This is for vehicle replacement. The first one is replace vehicle number 201. It's a 2012 six-wheel dump truck with a sander. This is a front line winter vehicle with which has motor problems and rust issues. The request is for $325,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash.
I just want to comment, we were allowed to go and see all the vehicles a couple weeks ago. I went, and as soon as I set foot on the lot, this was the only truck I wanted to see. As soon as I set foot on the lot, I could see that it was all rusted, and then it really needed to be done. But that vehicle inspection night was really informative, in my opinion.
Is that? Next would be to replace vehicle number 312. It's a 2016 F-350 utility truck with plow. It's used by the Parks Department. The current vehicle has 76,500 miles on it. This also has motor issues, actually emission issues, and can't get it to pass an inspection. It's been up to the, what was it, 3 months? It was up to the garage, Rick, and they couldn't fix it. They couldn't get it, so.
The dealer couldn't even diagnose and correct the problem, short of replacing the engines.
So this request is for $100,000, and that's recommended out of free cash. Next would be the Solaire compressor. This is number T247. It's a 2005. It's a trailered compressor. The current unit has had motor failure and is now currently inoperable. The request is, and it's pretty, this is the compressor they use for jackhammering the roads and stuff like that. So it's a real needed piece of equipment for them. Request is for $32,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash.
Joseph?
Is this the only one, or are there others?
No, there's 2, I think. Is there one with water, one
Water
highway?
department has one as well.
Do you interact with those? Okay, thank you.
Next, building maintenance. This is partial roof replacement and repairs, system-wide. Actually, going to be focusing on the Boyden School roof. So there'd be partial repairs to that, and then the rest of the fund would be really used for emergency repairs around town. This request is for $550,000, and that's what's recommended out of free, oh, no, excuse me. $500,000 is what's recommended, $500,000 is what's recommended out of free cash. Good. Next would be door improvements and repairs. This is a multi-year project to bring doors up to ADA compliance, would also increase, give us better security. Their request is for $180,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash. Next is on building, this would be for building repairs and upgrades. This fund would be to upgrade and repair town buildings town-wide. This is a fund that the building maintenance could draw off of in when it's needed for repairs or replacing equipment. It's recommended, the request was for $265,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash.
Mark? Through you, since the Old Town Hall upgrades is not getting funded, would they be eligible to use some of the 286 if the need arises? Jim?
Sorry, what was that question, Mark?
Since the Old Town Hall upgrades is not getting funded, would they be eligible for the part of the 265 if the need arises to make repairs on the Old Town Hall?
Yeah, but there are other, I know there are other priorities in the building maintenance divisions.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're looking
we've-
at the 265 primarily being dedicated elsewhere at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You brought up the next item, the Old Town Hall repairs. There was a request of $85,000 to upgrade the offices on the second floor, but we really didn't even get into that. It wasn't funded, so we didn't really discuss that too much. So next would be the school department. This is a Chromebook replacement. This is
High school generator.
High school generator.
That's right. Okay, thank you. High school generator. Upgrade. The current generator is undersized. The new unit would produce sufficient power for just about a complete, to power up the complete building. Their request is for $250,000. It's recommended free cash of $190,000, and that balance of $60,000 could be taken or used from the existing generator fund, some unused funds, unused money in that existing generator fund.
Ron?
So, will that be enough capacity with the additions and the new work being done?
Yes, that's,
So, we wouldn't have sufficient to roll that into the capital budget, for the expenditure for the high school?
are you saying we wouldn't have sufficient funds still remaining in that project at this time?
Right.
No, there's not. And the building committee is very protective of their contingency because they're, how far through are we, Pat, on that project? 50%. About 50, so we still have half the project to go.
Okay.
School department now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this here is for the replacement of Chromebooks. It's an ongoing replacement program. Will replace approximately 25% of the student Chromebooks. Request is for $387,000, and that is what is recommended out of free cash. Next, additional security cameras. This would be to add 2 cameras at the Old Post Road School at the community entrance. The request is for $8,500, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Okay, next would be a playground padding replacement. This would be for the Boyden School replacement padding. Existing is beyond its useful life. The request was for $65,000, but it's not recommended at this time, and the school department is looking to use money from the building rental fund. The same goes really for the playground padding at the Elm Street School. This would be also to replace the wood chips with the rubberized material. Our request is for $200,000, and I think the school department's gonna see what they can use out of the building rental money for Next would be snow removal equipment. This is for, proposed at Aaron's Mammoth 850 walk-around, like walk behind or you can ride on. It's a versatile piece of equipment that you can sit on the back, but it'd be for snow clearing. They have a broom for light snow and stuff, a nice broom that would clean off the walkways. You can also get a plow attachment and a snow blower attachment. There's a lot more walkways up there in that area now, and this would really help them along. So that request is for $31,000, and that's what's recommended out of free cash. Next would be for interactive smart boards at the Daniel Feeney Preschool. This would be to replace 7 smart boards with 7 interactive smart boards. The request is for $35,000. That's what's recommended out of free cash.
34,000.
34,000, what did I say? Okay. Numbers are getting crazy.
Almost done.
Okay, all set? Next would be for, in the water department, this is for pump station improvements. More or less, this is to replace the High Street booster pump, upgrade the generator at the Texaco booster, replace flow meters at the wells, replace chemical systems. It's a multi-year process to upgrade and replace 20 to 40-year-old equipment. Request is for $100,000, recommended $85,000 out of water retained earnings. Next would be the Munis billing upgrades. We'll replace 15-plus-year-old UB software with a UBCIS software, which is more efficient with added features. The request is for $50,000, and it's that's what's recommended, $50,000 out of water returned earnings. Next would be the water storage tanks cleaning. This would be to clean out sediment and biofilm from the tanks and also perform tank assessments. Request is for $90,000, and that is what is recommended out of water retained earnings.
Question, excuse me, is that only for one, or is that for all of the tanks to be?
If I can,
All,
Thank you.
Rick? Next would be the water main replacement. This would be a continued replacement program of the aging water mains throughout the town. The request is $1,300,000, and it's recommended for $690,000 out of water returned earnings. So the thing is, I think DPW would just replace what they can with the $690,000 at this time. Next would be a supplemental well exploration. This is the exploration to develop a new well at Washington number 4 and the Ponset number 1. This would be phase 2 at the E.J. Delaney treatment plant. The request is for $185,000, and it's recommended for $80,000 out of the water retained earnings.
Kathleen?
Through you, does that, I'm always curious when the recommendation is less than what was asked for, how that gap is filled or what we miss out on.
Well, I think it's a phase project, wouldn't it be? I'd like to defer it to Rick if I could.
Just move to phase 3?
Yeah.
Mr. Mattson?
oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't.
That's all right.
What particular project are you talking about?
Jim,
I was talking about the well exploration at school.
Yeah, so there's another request in here for well construction. You'll see, we think that appropriation is large enough that it'll support whatever balance is necessary to complete the previous one.
Great, thank you.
Next would be the sewer department. This is for the water meter system upgrades. This is the sewer department's share of the water meter replacement program includes building, audit, and inventory. Will replace 15 to 20-year-old meters. The total request for the meters was for $2 million. It's recommended $700,000 out of the sewer retained earnings, and then we'll see later that there'll be $1 million request out of water borrowing in the next article, in Article 6. But this is the sewer share of the water meter replacement at this time. Next will be the Munis billing upgrade. This is the sewer department share of the UBCIS billing software. The request was for $50,000, recommended $50,000, and that would be out of sewer retained earnings.
And that's the end of Article 5. I know the Capital Budget Committee supported this article unanimously a couple weeks ago.
So I would just say that the total requests from the departments were for $9,500,144. The total recommendations came to $7,709,083. Free cash was $4,390,200. Chapter 90 was $1,198,833. Water retained earnings was $1,170,000. And sewer returned earnings were for $950,000, and that's totals to the $7,709,083. And the capital budget committee voted favorable action 6-0-0.
Mr. Abbott, if you could step up to the microphone, you're gonna.
Just a concern that I have, if you look at the number of items that were coming from the sewer retained earnings and water retained earnings, if you look at a year ago, there was 2 items that weren't what you would traditionally see as either water or sewer items. They are connected in that they affect the groundwater when you're talking stormwater. And this year, there's 4. And okay, that's fine, but some of them are for design, and I think, Rick, you said the MS4 could generate something costing $500,000. It's a concern about, well, where is that coming? Is that going to end up on the water rates somewhere, or whatever? It's just a concern that I have. Don't have any objection to what we're proposing at this point, but I've seen a trend.
Thank you, noted. With that, would anybody like to make a favorable action recommendation for Article 5?
I move for favorable action on Article 5 in the total of $7,709,083 from the funding sources as stated in the presentation.
And is there a second?
Second.
Jean, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I think it's 11.
11. 11-0-0. And Article 6.
Okay, Article 6, this is capital borrowing. First item is water meter system replacement. This is phase 1 of 2 phases. This is the water department share of the water meter replacements. And this is for the, like I said before, the total recommendation for the water meters was $2 million. And it's recommended $1 million out of the water borrowing. And that was, that's what's recommended. Next would be the school Meadowbrook well replacements. This would be to drill 2 replacement wells at Washington number 5 and number 6. Existing wells are nearing end of the useful life. This request is for $1.5 million, and that is what is recommended out of water borrowing. And the last item here is supplemental Willis Lagoon replacement. We talked about this and we put money towards a lagoon out there. But this is additional money for the construction upgrades to the residuals lagoon at the H.E. Willis Treatment Plant, which is on Leonard Road. The request is for $2 million. That's what's recommended out of water borrowing, $2 million.
Sewer borrowing.
Yeah, sewer borrowing.
That was sewer borrowing, right? No, that was, yeah. Yeah, that was out of sewer borrowing, correct?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, no
Any questions on
that?
Article 6?
So, I was just gonna say, Article 6, the total request is for $4,500,000, and that is what is recommended, $4,500,000. 2.5 million would be out of water returned earnings, and 2 million would be out of sewer retained earnings, and capital budget voted favorable action, 600.
I think you mean water and sewer borrowings. You said retained earnings.
Excuse me?
It's water and sewer borrowing, not
Yes.
water and sewer retained earnings.
No, this is borrowing. That's why it's a
Yeah,
separate
no, you
article.
said
Yeah.
retained earnings.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. I apologize.
With that, is there a motion for favorable action on Article 6?
I'll move for favorable action on Article 6 in the amount of $4,500,000 from borrowing, as stated.
And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Josette. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 11-0-0. Thank you
Good.
very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Next, we have Article 7.
So, obviously, you have the drafted warrant article, the language in front of you. You've received some information on this. Basically, the select boards, they are sponsoring this article, looking to modernize the situation here, keep the sewer and water commissioners on as an advisory board. And I think that's why this is probably going to garner the most amount of debate at town meeting, whether or not to move forward or keep the status quo. As the agent of the sewer and water commissioners and as the person who is charged with carrying out the day-to-day duties of the town, I'm trying to remain neutral in this situation, so I'm trying not to take a side one way or another. I'll answer any questions you may have, and have at it.
I guess I'm very interested to hear people's opinions on this, so please chime in. But I guess the one question that I have for the moment was, thought I read that this type of requirement has to go before the town, an election, not just town meeting, but there also has to be an election. Is that true, or
It is not true.
It's not part of the charter.
It goes before town meeting for consideration. If it gets a majority of the vote, it goes forward to the legislature for enactment, similar to some of the other changes we've made in the past.
Thank you. Anyone else before, anybody else in the committee before I recognize Chairman Hassenjäger? I know that the Water and Sewer doesn't have a posted meeting tonight, so if you want to step up to the microphone and provide comments.
Good evening, John Hassenjäger, Chairman of the Sewer and Water Commission. The commissioners, to say the least, were blindsided by this act. There was no warning. It was a strange set of events over the summer where the department superintendent kept calling and asking me to cancel meetings because there wasn't an agenda, or wasn't adequate material to consider. And there seemed to be a disappearance of response that we've asked for since March from our consultants, Weston and Sampson, on potential supplemental water supply, dealing with the MWRA, and also exploration of potential wells and satellite wells and perimeter wells in the town of Walpole. I think personally, this is extremely disrespectful to an elected board. We got a series of memos about a week ago. Most of it was material we've been asking for, as I say, from March, but the other was announcement of Article 7. We were never invited to a meeting, we're never called or informed of this. To my knowledge, the selectmen have never had this on their agenda. There's never been a vote of the Board of Selectmen on this matter. I don't know how an article could possibly be crafted and submitted one day or the same day that the warrant closed. This document required a lot of legal work and obviously had been prepared over many months. It's sort of an ambush type of attack, which is, in my view, dirty politics. There's unfortunately personal animus, I think, between certain personnel on the selectmen versus the people they do and don't like on the sewer and water. I got many calls after the last election. They don't seem to like the new elected member of the board for some reason. But this is a terrible surprise. I would just say that historically, this is an institution of Walpole. It's a historical agency. It's been around for 130-plus years. The water of Walpole is sacred. It's the holy grail of our community. The seal of Walpole has a pond and a mill fall on it. We are sworn and dedicated to protect the water, to ensure the highest quality and highest quality service. The commissioners would like to make a few comments. I would just say, for example, we have the youngest member, Mr. Pradeep Mishra, who has a long experience in utilities. And since he's come on the board, he is specialized in customer care, something the Sewer and Water Commission never had. And he has been laser focused on responding to complaints, to needs, customer service, to analyzing our outdated billing system from the 19th century, to ensuring that they upgrade customer service to the 21st century and to modern technology. And he's been very focused on all the limitations and shortcomings of our commission with a positive perspective of trying to, again, upgrade to the highest quality to our membership and to our customers. So we have been dedicated. I would say these gentlemen all have extensive experience. Mr. Abbott and I was on the original Capital Budget Committee of Walpole. I've been on committees for 50 years, for half a century. I was on the original Capital Budget Committee with people like Clem Borgine and Marion Borgine, John and Jean Farrell, the town administrator. And we oversaw the building of this entire water system. And the water system you have, the town of Walpole has never produced one penny to pay for that system. Builders, developers, and our water commission have paid for everything. Not only that, we generate a profit of $2 to $4 million a year to the town called an enterprise fund, which today you're just talking about. You have a capital expenditure budget here of $12 million, and you're using $6.5 million of our money we've produced for that capital budget. So I'd like to I have a few comments, but I'd like to let the commissioners each make a statement, because, and I'm sorry, if this is bad timing for you, it's really bad timing for us. And it sounds like from Mr. Johnson said, there's not going to be any public hearing as far as the selectmen are concerned. The minute I saw this article, I called Mr. Johnson.
I didn't say that. I definitely did not say
You
that.
said it a few
I
minutes
said
ago.
that they haven't talked, they've closed the warrant. They are signing the warrant. I never said anything about, I'm not speaking for the select board.
Someone just asked you that. You said you didn't think they'd have a hearing on it. I just heard you say that. That's all right. We'd like to have a
I
hearing
did
on
not
it.
say that. I definitely did not say that.
I didn't hear it either.
Well, look at the tape. So maybe we'll have to have a public hearing.
Right.
But these people would like to talk briefly. And Mr. Abbott, who worked with me on capital budget and has worked on all these projects over the years for the water tanks and everything. And Mr. Fasanello. Mr. Fasanello, I call him emeritus because he's really like the godfather. He carried on from Frank Vernacci the whole life cycle of this commission. And Mr. Fasanello is a representative to the MWA board for a sewer system. He personally lobbied and fought to make sure that the approval of the sewer for Walpole, unlike many communities, did not have a limitation or constraint or finite capacity on it. That our approval was unlimited, so that whatever happens in Walpole from now to the end of time, we have total capacity for sewer, which is a tremendous economic development advantage. And he's to be credited with that type of contribution. And it's very similar to the thing we've been working on for 7 years with providing a supplemental water supply to have 100% redundancy and perfect water available to us if we ever need it, when and how. So anyway, we have these gentlemen. I'd like to ask the first person, Mr. Mishra, to make a few comments, and then I'll ask Mr. Abbott if I could. And I apologize, we're taking a little time, but we put a lot of years and dedication into this, and it's, at least we're hoping that possibly you'd ask to defer this article to another town meeting. This happens right in, by the way, suspiciously, this happens right in the middle. There's been town hall, secret, veiled somewhere, opposition to our exploration of the MWRA. And we feel we've been stonewalled with our consultants and slowed down. A presentation was supposed to be prepared for the town meeting 2 town meetings ago. And it got dragged, delayed, and dragged and delayed by the staff. We worked through Mr. Johnson and through the staff. And we love these people. There's no criticism of the people we work with. We have an excellent relationship with all, Scott Gustafson, with all the people that are involved with us, Mr. Mattson and Mr. Nunnery. So we're shocked that this has come up, and we would like to say a few words to you, because I think this is just premature. It's a knee-jerk reaction by somebody who's experienced. There's some young selectmen in this town that I don't think know anything about the Sewer and Water Commission. As I said, this is a legendary agency, and there's deep tradition here, and there's deep commitments by serious people who, not me just being on town boards for 50 years, but these gentlemen, Bill Abbott and Mr. Fastenal, have been on for decades as well. So I'd like to have Mr. Mishra, if you could come up and make a few comments.
If we could just go around and see if there are any questions for you.
Can I just make one point, please? In the chairman's presentation, there was an implication or an inference that the superintendent called the chair to tell him there were limited items on an agenda. And it appeared to me that it was kind of coming across that there was some kind of conspiracy to downplay the importance of the commission. That's absolutely not true. The reason those calls were made was because there was nothing on those agendas. And I think it was unfair to the superintendent to infer that.
Well, that might have been accidental timing, but
Was it accidental?
All right, Kathleen.
You know, sort of building on Mr. Mattson's point, I feel like there've been a lot of allegations of sort of secretive things and allegations of select boards who don't know anything about topics they're voting on. I don't know if we need that so much as when your other speakers come up, if they could present factually their argument to not have this change. But I'll ask the first question on that. I haven't been on the boards anywhere near as long as you. I've lived here probably as long as you have, but I would say, to my eyes, this system that we've had in place has not been the most efficient system recently. And I wonder if you would agree with that, or if you're not seeing the problems I'm seeing from my side.
No, I think that messy is democratic, and it's part of the, making the sausage, if you will. It's part of good government, to have debate, to have delays, to have people
Name-calling
push
is
back.
not.
And I think that there's a number of advisory boards where we see at town meeting the votes, 500, 1200, 8000. There seems to be no even pushback on anything. It's just 100%, and that isn't the sewer board. We take these issues seriously. We explore alternatives. If we can't get the interest of staff, we explore it on our own. That's the way the town government used to work in the old days, the
I don't know if
finance
I get to
committee.
reclaim my time, do I? I just wanted to remind you that my point was two things. Do you think it's effective, has it been effective and efficient recently? But secondly, that you lose your argument with at least me when you pepper it with all of these allegations. I happen to
Well, I
sit
don't-
on a board where we vote often unanimously on something because we've done the groundwork before we take a vote. And we've modified things, we've come to understand things, and our 1100, 1500 does not for 1 minute say that we're rubber stamping things.
Yeah, no one ever said that. So-
You're alleging that. You
What I'm saying is, because if a board does have a lot of debate and back and forth and question things and do other research, that's not a bad thing necessarily. And I don't think anybody's encumbered the operations of the department to move forward. We tried to cooperate, in fact, to embed some of our own ideas to make things better. No department's perfect. That's just an example, Mr. Mattson there. My comment was that so this thing came out of the blue a week ago. So the meetings I'm talking about were long ago. So I'm sure they had nothing to do with Mr. Nunnery. It's just, because in your email that came out today that we haven't seen, it says, what are the reasons for this? And one of them says, because the board doesn't meet sporadically and is not reliable. And I think that's a ridiculous allegation. I'm responding to that, not to you or to Mr. Mattson. So we'll let Mr.
Audrey?
So through you, I would also like to know, I respect your experience, all of you on the board, but I'm not clear as if the future speakers could also speak to this as to why a commission is required for that rather than an advisory board, which seems to me that if expertise and history is important, then having a board appointed might make more sense for that because you can account for that expertise. So I'd love if you could also speak to why your arguments require a commission as opposed to an advisory board, which could have that level of history and expertise and advise the select board as such.
Well, if you read the language, I think it suggests the selectmen will have virtual total control. Advisory board will probably wind up meeting before town meetings, you know, in the way it's described in that, their scenario, not Mr. Johnson's, but whoever wrote this in their scenario. And that's totally inefficient. I'm gonna give an example of rate setting and of a handout from the, do you have the handout of the 19th from Mr. Johnson about the MWRA? Did you get that?
The packet, okay.
Okay, because I'd like to comment on a few things. I was,
That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Keep it on topic.
keep it on topic, and we did receive that memo, so we have it.
okay, well, there's a close correlation. There's supposed to be a meeting with the Board of Selectmen. It couldn't be organized because one of the selectmen wanted to have answers to all these questions. Want us to recertify all our votes that we had already taken about the MWRA and about the Mylar Street decision and so forth. And we did all that, and then we passed on the questions about monuments of progress with the MWRA application process to our consultants. And we were waiting for results back from our staff about the perimeter well testing at Jarvis Farm and other things. So we couldn't answer all the questions. Ultimately, the questions were answered and passed to Mr. Johnson, and he finally released them like within the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So we couldn't get to Mr., apparently he missed the gentleman from the selectmen who had asked for them fast enough. He felt we were stonewalling him, but we got him everything we had, and we're trying to get him the rest of his answers so we could have a joint meeting with the selectmen, try to get on the page, and have them allow us to make a presentation to town meetings so the town meeting members can prepare themselves and know about this issue and know about all the alternatives and what's facing us. And no one's selling the MWR. We have other alternatives, and we have to see how this whole thing pans out.
So just to correct the record on that one, so I'm looking, and each of you have this memo, on March 24th, 2025, I provided the commissioners, Finance Committee, Sewer and Water Commissioners with an update on this, so that's not accurate. It wasn't provided to you on August 19th. The August 19th memo was simply some additional information. Almost 6 months has passed, providing them with an update. So, and Doug, at the beginning of the meeting, you had asked whether it was a bit of a open meeting law violation. Obviously, the Finance Committee is well aware, since you were all here on Thursday night, that the commissioners went into executive session without posting it, without stating the reason why, asked the clerk to leave. Clearly, if someone were to file an open meeting law complaint, myself and the town clerk would obviously have to work with the Sewer and Water Commissioners to refute that or to make it right. But I just don't want to, as their agent, I don't want them to be in the same situation, another open meeting law violation in less than like 5 days. So I have counsel on here. If, Mr. Vice Chair, I defer to you, but if you don't mind, I'd like counsel to weigh in. I just don't want them to go down this track of another violation in less than a few days.
Hold on a minute. That, you're incorrect, Jim.
Well, if we could hear from town
His
council,
memo,
that would
just let me
be.
say, the memo he referred to
This is not your meeting.
was the purpose of the meeting with the selectmen, and they asked the questions after his memo.
All right, town council?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Johnson. Just a brief comment, getting back to what the town administrator just referenced, obviously, an executive session does have to be properly posted and has to be called with respect to an appropriate purpose under the open meeting law. As for tonight's meeting, the concern that I think Mr. Johnson is pointing out is that we have members of the Sewer and Water Commissioners, and the concern is while the open meeting law does allow one board to attend a meeting of another, it does not allow the second body to act as a body unless it has posted its meeting. So a warning has to be given that if the Sewer and Water Commissioners want to participate as individuals and speak as individuals and not members of the Sewer and Water Commission, they can do so. But the concern is if they're being called up to essentially give testimony as members of the Sewer and Water Commissioners, they run the risk of a potential issue under the open meeting law. And I would encourage that they act appropriately and not act as a body which has not properly posted a meeting for tonight.
So
We're not going to act as a body. They just want to speak individually. They came here individually, and I'll just let them in
Yes,
order.
if-
Just-
Why are you speaking for them?
If the commissioners would like to come up and speak individually as residents, that's fine.
And then I want to address the thing you do have on the MWRA. I want to point out some reasons why you need a water commission.
All right, Mr. Abbott, would you like to comment?
I did make note on the 4th that we shouldn't go into executive session and did not participate in it, left at that point. I guess based on the council's last comments, I'm a little concerned about what we can and can't say. I guess all I would say at this point, I haven't taken a position on this article. What I have done is I've spoken to a couple of selectmen, they're the petitioners, and my questions are, why are they suggesting it? How do they see a benefit of making a change? What would they expect this board, this advisory board, to be doing? How often would they meeting? What are they looking from, and that sort of thing? So I've spoken to a couple of them. I'm planning on speaking to a couple of the others. I've also looked at the history of the water system. It has changed from being a commission to being the selectmen. And then back in 1973, we formed a sewer and water commission. Also, just have reviewed our minutes just to get straight in my mind. It's certainly what we've done. I've been on the commission for a long time, but, you know, sometimes you make assumptions of that we're doing this, this, and that. I went back and looked at the minutes, so.
Scott, Mr. Abbott, if you could.
Yeah, well, this is more, I'm not sure who this is even for, but I'd like to know who wrote Article 7? What was the impetus behind writing it? I'd like to hear from someone like, why do they think this is necessary? And I haven't heard from anyone who's the author or, you know, the purpose behind all this. I'd like to understand who wrote it and why they think it's necessary.
Through you, in response to what you're saying, Scott, I read this very carefully, the August 22nd memo, and I think it's spelled out, the rationale for it is spelled out pretty clearly, in that, you know, I know the town's been around for, what, how many hundreds of years? But things do change. We had a personnel board, I used to sit on it many years ago, and we've gone another direction on that. I think this memo outlines that, you know, we're not the only town looking at maybe going to a more modern and more efficient system. I was pretty impressed with this memo. I thought it kind of laid things out very clearly. I don't, in response to some of the allegations or implications that, you know, we heard from Mr. Hassenjagger, I don't see this as a personal thing at all. I see it as moving to a system for our town where sewer and water controls a lot of money, and they make decisions that impact all of us in a huge way. And I, for one, feel like we need to make sure that we have a system that's fluent and efficient and works for the town in the best way possible. It's not like we're standing alone here in making that change, and I think that's
No, but I think, you know, when I read that memo, you know, one of the things I highlighted is, one of the needs to do this is the increase in complexity of the sewer and water operation. To me, having people that are more focused just on that and specialize in that would give you better management of that complexity versus the select board who, this is just another one of the 50 things on their list that they'd have to do. So I don't know how dissolving this makes, you know, that, you know, answers that question, that, you know, it makes it better to handle the complexity.
If I could just, you know, follow up and respond. It's, Audrey, I think, made the point, when you have an advisory board, it's not as though the selectmen are gonna now be doing, you know, micromanaging every aspect of sewer and water. There'll be an advisory board that, or committee, which will feed the information that the select board needs. And I think you're right, you do wanna have people who focus on that. The question is whether you have the power to run these operations in an elected board or in an appointed group of people, with the primary responsibility being with the Board of Selectmen. That's really the question. Not like, oh, we're not gonna talk to anybody who might have anything to, you know, might have any specialized knowledge. That's, in fact, just the reverse of what's being proposed. It's just whether those folks will be appointed or elected, and how will they function in relation to the board, the select board. That's how I see it.
Audrey.
And I just want to, maybe I apologize if I didn't mean to invite people to speak. I don't think it has been our practice in this meeting to invite individual citizens to contribute unless they were the sponsor of the article, is that correct? Until the public hearing, so I retract my ask that people explain why an advisory board is. I'm sorry.
Well, I would still very much like to hear from others if they would like to provide comment. So, are there any other?
Well, I'm going to.
We'd like to hear the others.
Mr. Fausto would like to speak last. He asked me to finish my talk.
Then I'd like to speak to Mr. Mishra, if he would like to come up.
You want to talk? Oh,
So,
sorry.
but we can't have a presentation. He's not running the
I
meeting.
was not planning to have a presentation, but I would like to hear from the other commissioners.
You
if they
should
have-
call the people.
This is a serious matter, and somebody needs to put the time into here.
Thank you. Mr. Mishra?
We do it another day.
Well, then you should have called a meeting.
Mr. Mishra, please, if you'd like to comment.
This is an ambush that occurred in a week.
I have a question to the town council first. The question is this August 22nd memo about Article 7 Sewer and Water Advisory Board. It was not given to the Sewer Board on September 4th meeting, and I'm seeing it here first time for your meeting. So why this secrecy is happening to the town council?
This was sent.
Yeah.
Was that I didn't understand
That's
the
a
question.
question to the town council.
I didn't understand the question to
So this
town council.
particular August 22nd memo, which is given to you here,
Yes?
it was not given to us on the September 4th meeting. There was a Water and Sewer Board meeting. It was not given to us.
Okay.
So why this secrecy is happening?
Is that
I
a,
think maybe that's a question you can email the
Yeah,
town
I'm asking the
administrator.
council is here. I'm asking the town council.
but I don't know that he authored the letter, so I don't know that he'd be able to respond to
That's
why
what
it
I'm
wasn't
asking.
sent.
Like, why it was not presented to the Water and Sewer Board on September 4th?
So this is a memo to
I don't-
us, not to the
No,
water
this
and
one,
sewer.
that's what,
Yeah,
is
it's
this
to
the one
select
addressed
board.
to
Sorry,
sewer
it's
and
to
water?
the select
to
board.
the select board, it's not to the water and sewer
Yeah,
commission.
yeah, this was retracted for our board meeting.
Oh, maybe we're looking at a different one. Mine says to select board.
Yeah, this says two sewer and water, August 22nd.
They're two different
Two
memos.
water,
Two
August
different
22nd.
memos.
Could I just clarify? I know he didn't direct the question to me, but I don't mind answering it.
Please.
So
No, I'll ask the first the town council.
I'll let him direct it to town council then.
If,
Larry wants
if I,
town council to
if
respond.
I may, Mr. Vice Chairman,
Please.
if I understand the question is why is there secrecy? And I am not aware of any secrecy. The memo was presented as addressed. Town council didn't draft the memo, but the memo was delivered as addressed, and the suggestion of secrecy seems to be unwarranted.
Thank you. Do you have any other comments that you'd like to
So
make?
on the personal, as a personal member of this, or a personal resident, I didn't come to the water board just to,
Please, continue.
We're trying to hear you, and you've got somebody in the background that's talking
Sure, yeah.
over you.
the water and sewer billing is outdated. And if you have seen the history, it has been late. It's still today, it's late. It's late by at least 30 to 40 days after your meter is read. And when you say that you're getting a quarter bill, you're not getting a quarterly bill. You're getting 30 days after the quarter. And it's not for one group of people or 10 or 30 group of people. There are 10 different groups which get bills all at a different date, which are decided by a spreadsheet, depending upon the business days of the town hall. Such an outdated system. And what it does is that people get huge bill out of turn, and they come to the board asking like why they got this bill. And this happens almost every other board meeting, where the resident turns up asking why they're getting $1,000 bill. Now, the board has to protect the both water department and the public interest. Board has to review those issues and make decision, and that has been tough. And last 4 to 5 years, the board is trying to basically make that billing system more efficient. One of the simple example was the 50 cents or 49 cents charge on your online billing. We removed it in a vote. But the town didn't implement it, saying that they cannot have a system where the people can pay online without visiting the town hall. So these are the example where we have tried to fix the system, but the town has not improved. And this fight is still going on, and it will continue. Like, we are not going to sit and just have, let's say, commissioner replaced by board or, whatever. Because the Walpole resident, they deserve a better customer care, they deserve better billing, especially when there's a $15 million of money involved. That's what my statement is.
And you feel that that can only happen with an elected commission and not an appointed board?
No, elected commission also failed. I'm taking the responsibility. When you are telling that the commissioner didn't try, we did try. We have tried to do the monthly billing so many times. We have passed it, resolution, we have passed to remove the fees, we have passed to upgrade the meter bills, but nothing has happened. So if you're telling that we are not efficient, then there's a town is also not efficient. So that's the same point.
Joseph?
I've been following your meetings, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have seemed very consistent and very direct as far as the billing and the inaccuracies with it.
That's correct.
So I've got that clear. My question is, considering what the new capital budget is as far as the new munis for water and sewer for the billing, would that not address
It will address some
the
part of
inadequacies that you have legitimately come across?
So the main issue is about monthly billing. How easily can we do monthly billing? And town is telling us that it's not possible for them with the current resources they have. And my understanding is that now road is doing this monthly billing from last 5 to 10 years.
You're probably 100% correct, but with this new budget that we have before us, we have the implementation of a new process coming into
Munis billing and
the billing, correct?
meter system, yes. That's
Am I wrong?
That is what you folks just voted on, yes.
Okay,
The commissioners
so-
have made it clear to us that they want to go forward with it, as I stated.
Yeah.
So we're going forward with that $2 million there for the new meters and the new system for munis.
So that being said, I think we've addressed that, which was your most outstanding issue, and the one you work very, very hard at trying to bring it up to where
To
it
the
should
standard,
be.
yeah, that's correct. And
And I appreciate you, all the hard work you've put into that.
correct. So if you're thinking that so the day when you get a monthly billing so that you can pay it $600 as a $200 a month, that time it is successful. So it's not yet happened.
But I'm at the point where I strongly believe that with the new implementation of the update of which we are going to be doing, that it will address what has been your concern for quite a while.
That's totally fine.
Okay?
That's correct, yeah.
Anyone else with questions for Mr. Mishra? Mr. Fasenello, would you like to?
I would. Good evening, Finance Committee members. My name is Patrick Fasenello, and I represent Precinct 3. And I want to thank you all for giving me an opportunity to speak on Article 7. You've heard a lot of information, and it's kind of confusing. When I started to think about this, I said, it seems that we're talking about money here. So I'm going to concentrate on money. You are the Finance Commission, so it might be apropos. All right. Somebody's already told you that the commission was an elected body, started in 1895. That's like 29 years after the Civil War. I mean, that's kind of old. It's 130 years. It's been elected Sewer and Water Commission. And it was
created to have charge and control of the Walpole water system. Why was it elected? It was elected to ensure that the revenue center that the Sewer and Water Commission is, revenue center, would be independent of town funds in order to provide safe, reliable, plentiful water supply for the town. And since I've been on, we've always followed this mandate by doing some things. Preventing commingling of funds, providing checks and balances for the ratepayers, initiating audits, make sure the ratepayer funds were being used correctly. And most importantly, we are realizing that we are spending your money, not ours. So every time we spend anything, we're thinking about that. And we strive to keep these rates stable. What I mean by stable is that we try to use town forces instead of contractors. That saves us so much money, like on High Street. We put that water main in, I think it saved us like $900,000. We did one on, I can't remember the street now, but it's up on off Route 1, Pine Street. Pine Street, we were putting a sewer in Pine Street, and they wanted a fortune because it had all ledge. And the commission said, hey, you know what, let's maybe do it ourselves. We found somebody in Walpole who was a dynamiter. He dynamited this. They wanted to charge, if I can remember, like $200,000 to dynamite through this ledge. He did it for $10,000. I have a piece in my desk at home of the ledge. I took the piece of the rock and I inscribed it. I leave it there just to remind me that, the town can do things. We don't have to hire contractors for every single thing we do. So that's how we help to get money into the system. Also, I'm very proud of this. Let me go back a little bit. Walpole has a wonderful water system. It's huge for a little town. It has industrial water, and by that I mean it can supply water to put out fires in factories. If you're building a factory or you're building a building, a commercial building, you need water for fire suppression. We have it, and if you're one of the surrounding towns, you need to get it from us. And we make you pay for it, a lot of money. The dealership that they put in the town next to us, we charged them $1.1 million in order to get access to our fire suppression water. The town administrator at that time, not this one, was going to settle for a fire engine and 2 police cars. That was what he wanted to give us, for us giving him this water that he couldn't build this building without, because the insurance companies won't insure it and you can't get a mortgage. So, and that's what he's going to give us, a fire truck and 2 cruisers. Anyway, we got $1.1 million that went into the town funds. Should have went into the sewer and water funds, but somehow it wound up in the town funds. We've done that to different places, and I could tell you more and more. If you want to know, give me a call. I'll gladly explain it to you, with names and addresses of how we've done that. We've been entrepreneurial, okay? Because we're a utility. We're not like any other board. We're an actual utility. We make money and we spend money. And we keep the water system going. We keep the sewer system going. We're the only town on the MWRA system that did not have overflows of our sanitary sewers during one of those gigantic rainstorms we had, I think, 2 years ago. Every single town on the system had sewage floating down the streets, except for the town of Walpole, because we had things in place that prevented that. And it's not because of the experts that they say we don't use. It's because politically, we did things. Don't forget, we're a political board. We're volunteers, but we're a bunch of politicians. I have to go around and say, please vote for me. Vote for Pat Fastenal. I'm the voice of the people, that's my slogan. But anyway, so we're politicians first. And that's not a bad thing, because we help the town. And if you take all the money that we've saved the ratepayers, it's amazing. I think it's about $5 million since I've been on. And it's not for me, we all work together on this. We have some really very, very good politicians that were on the board, and they do a good job. And we need, of course, we need staff, because we're not technicians. So we do need the staff, and we follow their instructions. And reading that little blurb about we encumbered the town legally, I really need to see, I need an example of that, because I cannot find one instance, but I can find an instance where the administration has done it. So if anybody would like to call me on that, this is not the forum to be talking about that stuff, but I'll gladly answer it and tell you why the administration put the town in danger. Let me see. We also have a policy of trying to stay within 2.5. The people of the Commonwealth voted 2.5. We try desperately to stay within 2.5. I know sometimes we can't, because it's a utility, we have to go a little bit above it. Last year, we stayed. This year, I think the lowest tier is 1.5% increase. That's very good, I mean, for a utility to keep that type of a percent increase. So, we are always constantly overseeing sewer and water funds. And if you tune in to us, you'll see we fight all the time, right in front of you. We're messy and horrible. We yell and scream. But we're all volunteers. You know, somebody said, hey, Pat, they're getting rid of the Sewer and Water Commission. I said, yeah. He said, how much do they pay you? I said, what? He said, what is that, are they trying to save money? Yeah, okay. When I first got on, one of the, I think this is Delaney, if you remember, he said, Pat, did you get your paycheck? Now, I'm young. I said, no, I didn't get my paycheck. What paycheck? Of course, you know.
Still looking for it.
See the swimming pool on the top floor. In short, Article 7 will consolidate the town's finances to the few and rend the fabric of town government by diminishing transparency and citizen involvement, while giving one board absolute power over town finances. And, last but not least, it'll take away your vote. Thank you for listening to me.
Mark.
Is there any questions? Or?
First, Pat, thank you for your many years of service, and I appreciate your input into this agenda.
I hope I keep giving it.
Yes. I had my mind set before I came in, and you just reinforced my reasons for voting no on this article, because I do believe that we should have more separation of duties instead of consolidation. And even though I know that there are people of different views and they take exception to certain individuals, you guys are doing the best job you can, and you work very hard to work with us and with the town administration to make our sewer and water safe and affordable.
You're
Thank
too
you.
kind.
Thank you.
Kathleen?
Through you, Mr. Passanello, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you because you actually, and I'm not saying you're the same age, but my dad would have given an impassioned speech like that. So I love that. I will, however, say, I'm wondering, it's not always going to be you guys. Hopefully it will be some women also. And it's your years of service, well, exemplary, will be gone, and other people will serve on the board. And there could be some no good nicks,
And it's gonna be your fault,
right?
because you people
Because I
pick
voted them in.
the commissioners.
I realize that.
You have to pick people who are gonna
I realize that.
do what you need them to do.
And do you think that it is possible to staff a elected board, commission, with the people with the right talent, the right backgrounds that are needed to advise in an increasingly complex world, as opposed to finding the experts and appointing them onto a board? Can you just address that?
People you elect need to use our staff, which are the experts. That's why we hire them. We're not the experts, we're the politicians. So that's what the people need to do. They need to vote for people who will make good use of the town staff.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with you, but I appreciate your response.
I have to say something to you. And I've always been interested in water since I was in college and graduate school. I worked full-time. I was a water worker, dug holes in the streets. Okay, I worked nights for the water department and went to college during the day. And when I came to Walpole, it was like, ooh, I can run for Water and Sewer Commission? That's amazing. I did. And I do hold a DEP license currently. But these are things that really I like to do myself. It just happened to fall all in line. I really enjoy, water and how it works and the surge also. So it was really very, very intricate. One of the policies that you're living with now, because of an elected system, is when Deer Island is where our surge goes. Okay, it goes to Nut Island, which is a receiving station, then it goes to Deer Island, which takes it and sends it out to the Atlantic Ocean after it's very clean. When they were setting up Deer Island, they went to each town that was on the system, that were gonna be on the system. They said, how do you want your surge charge? Do you want to have the entire town, which would cost more, or do you want to take like a rural area and separate it off so that your assessment on Deer Island would be less? And Walpole, thank goodness, said, we want to have the entire town eligible for storage. And the way it stands now, if any place you live in the town of Walpole, you have the right to have sewer. Now, you say, oh, yeah, that's great, but of course you have to get the pipes and everything else to get there, and that's gonna cost you an arm and a leg, but you still have a place to get rid of it. A lot of towns didn't do that, and they wound up with certain areas can never be developed. They can never have certain things there because they were too cheap to fund their portion of Deer Island. And that's one thing that the politicians at that time did. They understood.
Elected politicians.
Huh?
Elected politicians.
The elected, thank you.
I rest my case.
You're helping me out here. Am I done?
Maybe an open discussion.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Am I done?
You are done. We've heard from all the commissioners.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Listening to my harangue.
I'd like to
So,
give you the example now of why.
we've heard from all the commissioners tonight. I didn't call you up, so for now, we're done with the, let's
You
call
don't
it
want to
open
hear the
session.
facts, do you? I've
Uh,
got the reason why the selectmen want to get rid of it. I'll give you I'll show you the reason with.
You can
All right,
email
I-
that to us.
We can listen to that at town meeting, and we can listen to any other comments at town meeting. I think the board's heard enough to make a decision this evening on whether or not this should move
That's
forward
pathetic.
to
You're
town
afraid
meeting.
to hear the facts.
Um,
They're right here.
Does anyone want to make a favorable
I
motion?
just had one
Oh,
other comment.
Go ahead.
Getting back to my comment about separation of responsibilities, if your advisory board is being appointed by your select board, you've got to make a decision, do you like their running of the water department, or do you like the way they're running the town, to decide if you want to vote for that person. At least if you've separated those responsibilities, if something's not going right on sewer and water, you can find a candidate. If something's not going right with sewer and water and it's the select board, I'm going to sacrifice a person who supports everything else I believe in, but's doing a lousy job on sewer and water. Thank you.
I'd like to show you what the difference in rate setting is between.
You know what? You're not recognized.
I want to know the facts.
In response to that, I mean, as is pointed out in the memo, there's also, you have to go through the town meeting process, and you can also elect your RTM that can vote for different articles, and so there's the checks and balances laid out here also. And I would say that water and sewer are part of the town, so that's part of the effective running of the town and the candidates you choose to represent you for that.
Could I just make a comment? I've been involved in town politics for quite a while now, and over the course of those 30 years, I guess. No, not that long. Yeah, but maybe. I've seen a lot of changes in this town, one of which is the fact that we recently got a AAA bond rating. This is a very well-managed town. It wasn't always that way. We're very fragmented. People will, when I worked with Michael's mother, Ellen, who got me into town politics, by the way, there wasn't a sense of working together, of viewing each other as we're all on the same team with different responsibilities, we work together. And I've seen a tremendous transformation over the years that I've been involved. I like what I'm seeing. I think we have good management in town. I think you do absolutely need expertise from people in sewer and water. But for my money, I'd like to see, I'd like to see consolidation. There's a whole list, 17 towns that have gone in a different direction from having a sewer and water commission. And I think there's a reason for it. Times change, things change. I'm in favor of this change. I think it would be more efficient. And I think that the town leadership has proven that it is able to run efficiently and respond to needs as they come up. So that's my thought on it. I think it would be a positive change for the town.
Scott?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I'm a no on this, because, I always start out with, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And I don't see anything broke enough to fix here. I think we have a great water department. I think the water and sewer in our town is great, it works. So, I don't know why you need to fix something that's not broken.
I honestly don't know where I am with this article either. I do feel like over the last, I've been here since 2018, and I feel like there's been a lot of, I feel like the committee has been I don't know how to say this politely. I feel like it's been rather disorganized, frankly, over the last couple of years. I know the committee has gone and attended meetings. We've spent a lot of time listening to the issues. Very interested to see what town meeting will say about this article, but I can't say that it's not broken. I don't know that it deserves to go back to, or to go to an appointed board, but I do think something needs to change. Ron?
I think, this article is coming up in August, and here we are. We're 6 weeks later after that. I think it's an issue that the town should discuss. I don't know if we're giving it ample time. I thought it was excellent that, the suggestion that, like we've done with the school committee, because several years we did the finance committee and the select board and the school committee, we had 3 different heads. And it seems like right now, we have 2 different heads, and we're the ones who're supposed to decide which one. And that may not be the case. But I think it needs more discussion, and I would think that it would be almost an issue that should be tabled for Springtown meeting or another date, because there is I see the reason for it to be a professional board, and that'd be part of it. I always wondered, in the 33 years I've been in Walpole, why is water and sewer is an elected position? And it's such a vital service that it shouldn't be a politically appointed position. That aside, I think there has to be more open dialogue of why it should be or why it should stay. And so at this point, I would just abstain or a motion to bring it up at another time.
Anyone else?
I'd like to talk.
We've heard your comments for tonight,
You
so
haven't gotten
thank
my
you.
comments, and I think as chairman, I deserve to be heard, Mr.
This is not a meeting.
I am not,
Move
I
for
am not.
no action on Article 7.
Got a motion for no action on Article 7. Is there a second? No action on Article?
Second.
All those in favor of taking no action on Article 7, just raise your hands.
2.
2 in favor. All those opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Excuse me? 272.
Who abstained?
Audrey, me over here, sorry. 3. Sorry. Yeah, you were an abstention? Yeah.
263.
263.
I'm moving for favorable action on this article.
We have a motion for favorable action by Sue and a second by Josette. All those in favor of favorable action on Article 7, raise your hand. All those opposed? And abstained? We have 6 to 3. All right, motion for favorable action carries. Do we have comments on Article 8?
Yes, you do. So each of you received the feedback, and I think, I'll just I kind of call them Audrey's comments, Doug's, and Ron's. I think we were able to kind of come up with what you were looking for on Thursday night. I tried to incorporate Ron and Doug's comments. Audrey has since followed up with as I've noted in the memo here, some additional information. I've asked town council the way Mark's on the call here. But I explained the reasoning behind the 3 months versus the 2 months there. And I'm not sure if it satisfied you.
I'm still not clear as to why change it at all. Why is this changing it at all?
From my perspective, it provides us with some greater flexibility. As you may recall, I think the last few years I've talked about, I'm not sure if the governor's budget's gonna come out in time. You know, it came out late, we were able to make it work, the insurance. And if we had some COVID really opened up my eyes in terms of what does it say, and, you know, is it, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, is it directory, or what's the, you know, do you have the option of whether or not we could move town meeting? And yes, we could, but it wasn't specifically spelled out. We needed a legal opinion to do it during that COVID month in 2020, in June. So it just provides us with some greater flexibility. It doesn't say, it doesn't specifically say, you're going on the first Monday in May and the third Monday in October. It just gives us the last quarter towards the end of the year and in the springtime at some point, just to provide some flexibility.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just balancing the flexibility with the presumption of regularity, right? And so knowing when something is happening. And I did some light research into other towns, and most specify the date for their spring meeting. Most don't have a fall meeting or have similar, or at least some charter revisions have similar to what you have here. We'll let you know about fall meeting if there's any articles submitted to. But I still think that there needs to be some date certain for people to plan for that, so we have deadlines for when we submit warrant articles. And so we know that it's, 3 months is not a lot of time to notice anything, to plan for that too. And it's privileging people who don't have plans to come to town meeting, to submit warrant articles, to come to all these hearings, right? So and for flexibility and determining, when the governor's budget comes in, can that not be solved by even just pushing it back a week or two? So I just still don't understand the need for having an uncertain date in there for those May or June versus just pushing it back if you're worried about the timeline for things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, and I understand, like, with school schedules and everything, people are like, okay, it's coming up, it's gonna get done before.
Yeah, I know
the
where I'm
law-
going next year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
To provide flexibility there, yeah, so.
Mark?
Through you to town council, does the charter currently stipulate when the warrant is opened and closed, or is it all contingent upon when town meeting is scheduled?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Vice Chairman, the warrant does not currently specify when the warrant is open and closed. The warrant, the charter specifies the timing of the date of town meeting, and then the warrant is within the hands of the Board of Selectmen. So the Select Board would make that determination as to opening and closing the warrant. But my understanding, as indicated by the town administrator, with respect to this article, is to give flexibility and avoid the possibility of calling a town meeting based upon essentially a set or arbitrary timing when there may be need for, as the town administrator indicated, additional information or additional flexibility. Currently, by statute, the select board can, notwithstanding a charter provision, delay the start of town meeting and change the date already. So there is certain uncertainty or flexibility, depending on how you want to call it, within the statutory process, notwithstanding the current charter. And so this proposed bylaw or charter amendment, rather, I'm sorry, would essentially codify that by not creating a situation every year where the select board would be tasked with determining, based upon the information available to it, to possibly postpone town meeting, notwithstanding the language of the charter. That in and of itself can create uncertainty, because you have a situation where the charter specifies a timeline and the select board can then determine to simply change it. And individuals who looked at the charter, saw the specified dates, would be very confused, would raise the very question that the town administrator comes to us with very often as to, can we do this, and how do we let folks know, notwithstanding the charter. So I think the change is intended to essentially embrace the concept already allowed in statute, a concept that was further refined during the COVID period that the town administrator referred to, that allowed for a lot of continuation of activity, both town meetings and meetings of public bodies. Really changed the way meetings occur generally. And so I believe that the concept here is to give that clear flexibility to the select board that does have charge of the warrant, so that there isn't confusion between the actions of the select board and the language that is currently within the warrant, within the charter, rather. Thank you.
So procedurally, the select board can still open the warrant at the same time, close it at the same time, and then figure out if it's necessary and when to hold the town meeting within the new parameters outlined by this change.
Yes, I think that's a good summary. Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to worry, as long as select board says it always opens July 15th and closes August 15th, and opens January 1st and closes February 15th. The warrant's the warrant, and town meeting can be adjudicated within the new guidelines as necessary.
And I think that's, again, consistent with the allowance within the statute, within Chapter 39 itself, that gives the select board specifically the ability to postpone town meeting. And I think that's intended to address, as the town administrator indicated, the need for additional information or the possibility that articles are being developed or for a variety of reasons. So there is some flexibility already built in, but the select board would continue to control the warrant and the process for opening and closing the warrant.
And my other one comes to, once a town meeting opens, if the election occurs during town meeting being open, once the vote is certified and people are sworn in, they take over that town meeting, correct?
In the town, as soon as, the succession is clear. And so once an individual is elected and sworn, they take the seat.
Thank you.
Audrey?
So under the current procedure then, even if we were to specify, or keep it as is, in the first May or third May in June, I'm only talking about spring meeting for now, that the select board could still postpone it. So I don't see why we're adding the flexibility in the charter versus making every effort we can to have it on a regular date every year. And then in extreme circumstances, when we do need to postpone it, there is already a procedure for that. So to me, it still doesn't justify changing something like this. And I'm only speaking to the first paragraph here. I do agree with the provision in section B that calling for no fall annual meeting if there's no articles to move forward. But I still believe that it's important to have that date certain set in there.
Any other comments on Article 8? Is there, would anybody like to make a motion?
Go ahead, Mark.
Anyone?
I mean, if it were up to me, I would make a motion for no action, and then we'd reconsider it after thinking a little bit more through some of the timing provisions and whether or not we even want to have a fall town meeting in here specified too. I mean, I think, like was mentioned in the last article, this may need more time.
So is that's your motion?
No, I'll
To
say it's
defer,
my
or
motion for no action on Article 8. That would be mine.
is there a second for a motion of no action on Article 8?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second for no action on Article 8. All those in favor, say aye. For no action on Article 8.
Oh, three. I'll say no.
I'll say no.
All right, raise your hands again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oppose and abstain? Abstain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be, motion carries for no action on Article 8.
What's the vote?
604? 640?
You missed-
Six
you
in
missed-
favor,
you missed Scott up
6.
there.
What's that?
6-5.
6-5.
6-5.
I believe so, yeah.
Because
Oh,
there
did
are
I miss
11.
Steve?
Nobody abstained?
You missed, no, I abstained,
I
actually, so
abstained.
6.
Everybody
6-4.
abstained, nobody opposed.
6-4.
So
It
it's
was 6-4.
6.
So it's 0,
0,
5.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
650?
605.
605.
5 abstentions.
For no action.
For no action, and it was Steve, Doug, Mark. And who is in favor of no act? We had Audrey,
Kathleen.
Kathleen,
Susan.
Ron, Sue, Josette,
Jean?
And
and
Gigi.
Jean. Okay.
You noting that for Stephanie?
Okay.
No, just who voted against?
The abstentions won. I just came close to having the abstentions.
Abstentions don't count.
Yeah, I have to defer to Jim or town council on that. I don't.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Well, you still have to have a quorum vote in favor. So if it was 5-1-5, then it didn't carry, because you didn't have a majority vote. and the quorum.
If I may?
Yeah.
Please.
On that matter, the process is that you need a quorum to hold a meeting, and then the majority of those present and voting to vote on a matter. Abstentions are not counted as votes.
Okay.
So as long as you have a majority of those present and voting, that would be the rule for determining whether a motion carries.
If it was 5-1-5, the 5-1 would carry.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
got
Yes, correct.
a
Gotcha.
parliamentarian course.
Thank you.
All right, so the motion did,
Carry for no action.
carried for no action, but this still goes
Yes.
before town meeting and still gets a vote. It
Not
does not,
necessarily.
not necessarily?
I got your vote, so, more to come.
Okay.
So there could be a substitute motion, or it could be withdrawn.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Warrant hasn't been signed yet.
Watch the space.
Any update on schedule, Jim?
What?
Any update on schedule at this point for reconvening after the planning board? Or are we just gonna go to our public hearing?
I thought the way you guys left it, it was needed 7, and have a public hearing at 7:30.
Yeah, I think that is the way we left it.
Right.
Gee, I go back to the last vote, not the previous vote that we, on the water and sewer. My vote was to abstain, but the abstain was mainly to be, and I don't know if I can change it at the will of the, it abstained, but it's to refer back to committee. And I don't know who filed the article, to just refer it back, because I think there just has to be more dialogue than this public hearing and town meeting. I think it's a much more complicated issue, and charge issue to just vote it here, and that's the final vote that goes before town meeting.
But we did vote.
I know, but then I'm asking for a reconsideration, or at least I'm asking for my vote to be a reconsideration, because I'm abstaining because I don't have a yes or a no on that. Jim's memo stated that would be that the 3 committees sit down and discuss the issue.
The reason I said that, Ron, is regardless of the outcome of whatever happens, the sewer and water commissioners, if town meeting or a majority of town meeting votes yes, favorable action on that article, they stay in effect until the state legislature acts upon this. This MWRA thing has been a long time coming. We've been working on it, as the chair stated, for a few years. We need some directive from, just as we've done with the sewer and water, with the school committee, come December or something. I know the commissioners, I believe, the majority of them are supportive of it, but I don't know where this board, you guys make I need to get some directive.
And I don't disagree with that at all, that I need more direction. I don't know how to.
We had someone for you
No,
right here.
I'm not asking you, Mr. Haskins, I'm just,
I know.
I think that's insulting to the members of this committee to make a statement that's unfair to this committee. This committee works very hard, they've always worked hard as long as I've been, and for you to make that statement is very insulting. That's very insulting to this committee.
Okay, Ron, I agree, let's keep.
So, I don't know if to amend my vote, I need a reconsideration on my vote, that not just be an abstain, but refer it back to the filer, who would be, was it the selectman? or-
Select board of the petitioners.
Again, Mr. Vice Chairman, if I may?
Please.
I think at this point, the Finance Committee has taken a vote. In order to reopen this matter, there would have to be a motion for reconsideration placed before the committee. The committee would then have to vote to reconsider, and then the matter would be back before the Finance Committee for further consideration. Otherwise, you could not simply have individuals changing their votes without the matter having been voted to be reconsidered.
That's why I'm asking that council.
Yeah.
But also because I'm asking, because I was the one abstaining, can I even be the person making that motion?
Yes, in my opinion, you can.
Okay. Because I know at town meeting, if you're on the losing side, you cannot make a motion to change the motion.
Well, there's a very specific rule for town meeting having to do with reconsideration, but that's not applicable to the finance committee.
Thank you.
I would wait for additional members to be present.
Okay, so another night. It's fine with me.
What, I don't understand what just happened, what?
As opposed to him going for reconsideration now where it's already passed 6-2-3.
Yeah.
When we go to our public hearing and hear more input, that would be the time to vote for reconsideration after getting more input from the community and so forth. And plus, absent members would be here to also hear and debate the issue.
This body would still have to vote for the reconsideration.
Right.
Yes.
And I have a question. Since it appears the select board put forth this article, or it's a recommendation by the select board, would it be possible for us to meet with the select board prior, either at our public hearing or prior to the public hearing, to gain some additional information? I agree with you, Ron. I think it would be very helpful, and obviously I voted in favor of the article, but there's always room for more information and clarification, especially, I believe, as the public is concerned.
Mr. Chair, I agree. I'd rather not have some of the discussions we've had here tonight show up on town meeting floor because people were not involved.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Hypothetically with that, if it is to take place, that we get all the members of the select board, not just one or two.
So what I would suggest is just give me, it's beginning of September. We got until October 20th, I think, town meeting's being held on. Commissioner Mishra sent me a request on behalf of the commissioners to a litany of things. My suggestion and one of the response I'm drafting is, I think you should talk directly to the selectmen on this. And again, I'm in an awkward spot because I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, present the information. The selectmen set up the warrant, finalize the warrant, you folks make the recommendation on each article. What we'll do is I'll suggest to the chair, hey, maybe on a Tuesday night or whatever night, we could have a discussion on this. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of discussion on it. I'm sure there's going to be discussion at your public hearing, and the commissioners have asked for that too. So if we all meet in here, similar to what Ron was saying with that joint meeting, we won't focus on the MWRA, because I think that night should be this, are you going forward with Article 7? Selectmen, what's the reasoning behind it? So we could set something up with public hearing.
What date is the select board voting on this article or discussing it?
So I think they have it on their agenda for tomorrow night.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah.
Scott?
Usually what they do, Audrey, is they wait until this board votes on the articles. Town meeting, as you know, is a tight window here. And what you guys have, and I've always prefaced that in all my memos to you folks, what you have is a draft right now. That's why I said, when you took the vote, you did. It's a draft, it's not signed. Council actually recently got their comments back on some of the, I was more focused on the borrowing article with council and working with bond council. That's bond council's taken a little bit of time to get back, but I expect they're gonna probably be voting on the stuff that you've at least voted on, which I think at this point is everything, so.
Hypothetically, is it possible for them to hold their vote? I know the warrant is going to publishing and all of that, but is it possible for the select board to hold their votes until such time as we have interaction with them so that we can have more clarification?
Sure. I think is anything possible? Yes, but I don't want to speak for them.
Their vote doesn't get published until town meeting, so it's not part of the
Yeah,
book.
but
Yes.
it would be nice to be able to them not to have taken their vote and to share their thoughts with us as to whys and wherefores, and it will, I voted yes for it. I believe it's the right way to go for the future. But it's always nice to get the full picture of everybody else that's involved.
Sure.
Yeah, Doug, yeah,
Scott.
and
I would like, I mean, one of the reasons I voted no was because every other article, there's like an advocate for it, an owner, someone who like, this is my article, this is why I want it. And this one seemed like anonymous. It's the select board. Well, someone initiated this, and I'd like to hear from them why they think this is the right thing to do, and whoever that may be. And I never felt that we heard from anybody tonight about that. Whoever initiated this said, hey, this is a good idea, this is why I think we should do it. It just seemed kind of anonymous, and here's Article 7, vote on it, and you had people who, not for it, but we didn't really, who's the advocate for this? Where'd it come from?
Just, the select board are the sponsors of all of these articles, and, just thinking of the zoning articles, they're the sponsor of the zoning articles. The planning board has made it clear that recently, they're not sponsoring these zoning articles. The select board is sponsoring these zoning, so they are the sponsor of it, and I'm sure they'll come before you, or you'll come before them when they schedule whatever this meeting is. You can ask your questions of them specifically, so.
But, like the capital budget, he's here explaining everything, the zoning, our town development officer's here explaining why it's a good idea. So in my mind, but there's no one here explaining Article 7 tonight, on like, this is why we want it, and this is why we thought it's a good idea, so.
We'll hear from you.
I do feel like we had the Q and A. I mean,
Yeah, that memo.
I felt like I had
thought the memo was
the facts.
very efficient.
All right, well, that concludes
bypassed
this
history.
evening's agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
We've got a motion to
Yeah,
adjourn
that's
and
it.
a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained,